Hey everyone, Fini here from Fini Reads. Welcome and welcome back to my channel with the new background. I got the books all sorted in. The only thing I haven't figured out quite yet is my new recording setup. So again, TBD at this point, including funky lighting because it's super rainy outside. It never rains in California, but it does. Living proof right here. And since it is a rainy Saturday and in general a rainy weekend, I thought I actually sit down and think about what do I want to read for the rest of the year, because it's not that much anymore. It's mid of November. It's the 15th by the time I'm filming this, and I actually already started thinking about what I want to read next year. There are a couple of cool things coming up that I'm very excited about. I am currently contemplating which big series I want to read next year. But yeah, all of that at a later point. Today, I want to talk about the books that I want to finish the rest of the year. And there are a couple. I know there is this 10 before the end type of thing. Given that it is mid-November, I probably will be able to read exactly 10 books till the end of the year. Let's dive into the books. Starting with the most controversial book that I've read this year, which is the third book in the Mistborn series, Heroes of Ages. If you've been on my channel before, you know that I have kind of a love-hate relationship with book 1 and 2, and I DNF'd it, and then I read it again, and then I was... the ending of book 2 is kind of a big cliffhanger of the story, so I have to read book 3. I have to finish the series, and I just want to finish it this year because potentially I want to read Stormlight next year. That's not my big series that I want to read, but at least book 1 maybe, potentially, or Warbreaker. Anyway, I want to make progress in the Brandon Sanderson universe, and I want to read more by him because there are books that I really enjoyed, specifically the Secret Projects. And I don't believe that, just because I'm not a huge Mistborn fan so far, that he is not for me. I definitely want to read his other books, but in order to then, I want to finish this one first. Another one that is a series continuation, if you will. I started with the Sanyare series by Megan Haskell this year, so I read book 1 this year, and I need to continue the series. I loved what I saw in book 1. I loved the characters. I loved kind of the world that she built. It's kind of a portal world with fae, but also some really cool, more epic fantasy, sword and sorcery kind of stuff, and I want to know how it continues in book 2. Plus, I just backed her Kickstarter for the continuation series because book 2 in her continuation series just came out via the Kickstarter. So I need to catch up on her first series, which is 4 books. Yes, which is 4 books and a novella. So I can then continue in that series that I just backed on Kickstarter. We continue with series continuations. Children of Ruin. I always want to say Ruin of Time. I don't know what I don't know. It would also be a cool title. I read Children of Time with Josh earlier this year, like last month, and we did a live on that. If you want to check out our discussion on that, it's spoiler-free and spoiler-filled, so there is a section if you haven't read it yet. It was actually a reread for me because I read it a couple of years ago, and then I never continued with the series. I want to change that now. So I want to read Children of Ruin before the end of the year, and then Children of Memory at the beginning of next year, and then book 4 is coming out in March. So I'm very excited to finally see how this is continuing. From what I understand, as you continue in this series, you get new kind of sentient type creatures with it. I believe it's octopi in this one. I could be wrong, but I'm excited to find out. And then really excited to find out what we see in book 3 and 4 then next year. The next book, also sci-fi, is a continuation of Nico's and my backlist book club pick. It's technically not part of the backlist book club, but it is the next book in the series that we read as part of the backlist book club. Shards of Honor was book 1 in chronological order by Louise McMaster Bujold that Nico and I read in October. We both enjoyed it a lot. And since we're taking a break in the backlist book club for December, we decided to just continue in that series because we both enjoyed it. We both want to continue. So why not? Now we're just waiting for my library haul to come through so we both can start it. And I believe Kate from Kate Coy wanted to join us as well. well. So this is going to be exciting. I hope book 2 is as fantastic, if not better, than book 1, because that then means that we will continue in the series. And I want to know where this is going. It's a great world. I love the characters. I love the story. I love the writing, especially. It was kind of confusing in a sense, but I loved this craziness that was going on in the book. So I'm very excited to see where we're taking it with that. And one more in the SFF category is book 5 and 6 in the bigger Drizzt series. So it's book 2 and 3 in the, I think the Dark Elf? I always forget what the individual trilogies are called. But I read Crystal Shard late last year or early this year. I'm not 100% sure anymore. And I want to finish out this trilogy. This is a huge maybe if I get to it. They're really quick reads, so I shouldn't take too long to get through these, which is, by the way, Streams of Silver is book 5 and The Halfling's Gem is book 6, if I haven't mentioned that yet. Because I have pretty much the entire series on ebook and, TBR reading and whatnot, read what you own and all that fun stuff. So, and I enjoy him. I like Drizzt as a character a lot. I like all the side characters. I like the dark caves. I don't know what the cat is pronounced. I'm not going to get this at this point. But I want to read it. It's great classic fantasy. Like, there's nothing fancy about it, but it's kind of like a, coming home type of very simplistic fun experience. And yeah, I really hope that I at least get to the Crystal Shard this year still. If not, I have to make it a priority in like January or February, because, this is one of those where I don't lean towards because it's not the best thing since sliced bread, but I really want to read it because it's a lot of fun. So I keep forgetting to put it on my TBR. And I just want to read it. I just want to read this whole series and get through all these Drizzt books. Icewind Dale. This is what this trilogy is called. Dark Elf is the first one. Icewind Dale is this one. Oh my goodness. This one. And then I have a couple of arcs that I want to read before the end of the year for Perils of the Past by Kane Williams. The author kindly sent that to me a while ago, like before the release date, which was, I believe, in May. And since then, it has been on my list, and I definitely want to get to it. This is actually one that I'm super excited about. I believe it's a standalone. It sounds like a good epic sword and sorcery type fantasy with a little bit of the Chosen One based on the description, but then also with some interesting sounding unique elements. And I've seen other people read it and review it very highly, people that where I trust their reading taste. So I am really excited for Perils of the Past. And I definitely want to make sure that I get to it this year still, so I can tell you more about it and how I liked it. The other one is One Grim Night by Chad Nicholas. This is more a horror book, as the name says, fairy tale retellings, but more with a horror aspect, which actually makes sense because grim fairy tales were actually horror stories, if I have never, but I've heard that the actually original ones are pretty gruesome. And I actually started this one last night, and I am so surprised by it. I did not expect this writing style for this type of book. I didn't know much about it. I knew the author through Bookish Jazz, who has read other books by the author, who's also read One Grim Night and already reviewed it. He speaks very highly of him. And then Chad sent me One Grim Night as well. Thank you, by the way. I really appreciate that. And so far, I'm blown away by this. I've only read 2 chapters. I've seen Red from Red Rising Hood, and the writing is really cool. It has a little bit more poetic, lyrical aspect to it, but it's a very visual, vivid way of telling the story. I'm excited to continue with this, and I'm very excited to tell you more about it. Plus, the art in the book is incredible. Like, the first page that I saw, it was so cool. I need to figure out who that is, but I will tell you more about that in the wrap-up. And then away from the sci-fi, fantasy, horror genre into thrillers, because there are a couple more that I want to read in the thriller genre as well, starting with, of course, John Marrs. I've been doing one John Marrs book every month since the beginning of the year, together with Stacy from the Chapter Conundrum and a couple of other peoples that jumped in and out throughout the various books. And we have 2 of his thrillers left, one for November, one for December, which is Keep It in the Family. That seems to be his more popular thriller book. I know nothing about either one. I love going blind into his books because I always love to learn what it is about as I'm reading them. I just know for Keep It in the Family, there is like the famous chapter 29 or something like that. I have no idea. And the other one is Stranger in Her House. That is our December book. And then we have just 2 books left. One is the 2025 released, which some of us read already in March when it came out, which is You Killed Me First. I decided to move it into January 2026, and then he's releasing another new book in January that I will probably read in February, something like Dead Water or something. I'm blanking on the title right now. And then the last one that I potentially would like to push into this year, it's the second book in the Tora Gudmundsdottir Yes, I got that right. Gudmundsdottir series by Yrsa Sigurðardóttir, an Icelandic author. I apologize for butchering names here. Also a reread. I've read book 1 earlier this month already. I will tell you more about that in my November wrap-up, which was part of my Jar Jar Reads. If you haven't watched that video, I listed all the series that I'm in the middle of, and Yrsa Sigurðardóttir's was one of the ones that I started years ago and then never finished, but I love Scandinavian authors. I love Icelandic authors in particular, and I always wanted to continue this series, especially now that there are more books out that also have been translated into German and English. So I read book 1 already, and I would like to continue with book 2 immediately. I actually read book 1 in German, as I had the German Kindle ebook still, but I somehow have a copy of book 2 in English, so I want to try the English translation and see which one I like better. This is definitely a series if you're interested in Scandinavian authors and trying something like completely out of left field. You have to like the way Scandinavian like thrillers are written. They are different than American thrillers, very different, especially the Icelandic ones. It's very literal, which I love. I love books if they are literal, so it's absolutely my vibe. It's dark. There's some pretty gruesome topics, some pretty detailed descriptions of, like, it falls into the body horror category. I'm speaking for book 1, not for book 2 necessarily, but book 1 was very interesting, and they're in general like this. So back, again, years ago, it's more than 10 years ago at this point, I read, I believe, 2 or 3 books in her series, and they were all on the darker side and all went into directions where you're like, oof, okay, this is not for the faint of heart. So anyway, I'm excited for this one. And again, quick reads. I'm hoping to get through those. A lot of them are thin and quick reads, especially like the thrillers, the 2 John Marrs books and the Yrsa Sigurðardóttir book are quick reads, so they should be like weekend reads. And they're actually only like 2 chunkers in there that will take me a little bit longer. So I'm hoping it's a good mix. What have you planned? Like with 1.5 months left and with, you know, a lot of holidays in between where some have more time, others don't have as much time at all to read. What are like the books that you still want to get through in this year? Let me know down in the comments. I'm excited to see. And then I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day and that I'll see you soon with another video. Bye.